I was thinking, just reflecting on these pieces of scripture that we've got today, about how, I guess, how our faith can and maybe can't be lived or shouldn't be lived. We can grow up as members of the faith, and depending on the example we give, or are given, I should say, we can end up living a poor form of Christianity. We can end up doing the external things, the Mass, going to Mass on a Sunday, who knows, maybe saying grace before meals, I don't know. The basic would be going to Mass on a Sunday, and maybe that's about it. That's where people see us. And it isn't until we make the personal choice to commit ourselves to the Lord, to say, Lord, I want to follow you, that our lives often change and we start to imitate the Lord. Why am I saying that? Because the readings are about following. The first reading about following the Lord, the God of Israel. The second, the gospel, very much about disciples, becoming disciples, following the Lord. And in the first reading, the people of Israel, who have been given the law of the Lord, who have been given the temple, who have been given everything, have, although they no longer go to Jerusalem, this is the northern kingdom, they've set up their own temple in Bethel, and therefore they are very full, they're quite rich, they've got a lot of stuff, their celebrations are very ornate and opulent, there's a lot of show. And while the people have a lot of show, the rich there have no regard for the poor. That's the first third of that text we heard from the first reading, showing how the people dismissed, the rich, the powerful, dismissed the poor, used the poor, abused those who didn't have. And God is reminding them, actually, of where they got everything from. He reminds them, it was I who brought you out of Egypt. I was the one who did it. I destroyed, yes, I overthrew the Amorites. I destroyed them. I brought you out of Egypt. It was me that did all this. You have that stuff. Why? Because of me. And you've abandoned my ways. You might look like you're living it, but your life in reality is far from the life I call you to lead. And the last part of that text was basically warning the people, the prophet Amos, warning the people, you continue like this and it will lead to your destruction. For them it was physical destruction. For us, it's eternal destruction. It's the death of our souls. What is the solution there? The psalm gives us a bit of a hint. The Lord is reminding them who did it. You know, when somebody does something good for us, what do we do? What do we say? Thank you. Thank you. And the psalm basically draws that to our attention. A thanksgiving sacrifice honors me. I will show God's salvation to the upright. And so it's in thanksgiving we remember what God has done for us, and we give thanks to him. And we live our lives as a response to the gift that he's given us. And we have these two men, the scribe and the other person, who desire to do that. They desire to follow the Lord and to give themselves to him. The scribe is challenged because to be a scribe, you have to have a stable home. And Jesus is saying, if you want to follow me, you're not going to have that stable home because I have nothing. With the man who wants to bury his father, who's already a disciple, Jesus is basically telling us, you have to put me above family duties. There is a cost to following the Lord. The reward is infinite, but there is a cost. But the question goes to, who is your God? What do you place as more important than him? In that first reading, the people of Israel made money and power their God. That was more important for them than the Lord. For the scribe, it may have been his home and his security. With the young man, his family. But the reality, what Jesus is calling us to, is to put him above everything else. Why? Because he has put you above everything else.